Hi, this is David Clayman, and I'm doing the video review for Kameo Elements of Power for Xbox 360. Kameo Elements of Power is a premier launch title for Xbox 360, and it's been a long time coming. We actually had a full previewable build on the Xbox channel, and we've been waiting for this game a long time, so we're glad that it's finally here. First thing you'll notice about Kameo is that it really feels like a Nintendo game. You play a little sprite, an elf in the game, a woman, who has the ability to turn into different characters, or elemental spirits. She uses this power to solve puzzles, explore temples, and beat up on ugly trolls. The great part about the game is that it's very densely packed. You're always doing something like solving a puzzle or fighting a bad guy. There's very little dead space in the game, and this makes it a fun experience all the way through. The brunt of the game is spent cruising around the world, finding these elemental spirits, and each time you find one, you have a new way to solve puzzles, a new way to fight trolls, and it gives you access to more areas. So by the end of the game, you really have a whole lot of options, especially in combat. The beauty of the game really is when you've unlocked a few of the characters and you use them in conjunction to accomplish your goals. So maybe you have a water character that can spray oil, you can then use a fire character to light that oil on fire and take out a whole bunch of enemies. It's this kind of gameplay that allows gamers to think on their own and do things that maybe the developer didn't even see in the first place. A few months ago, when we hadn't yet played the retail build of the game, we were expecting a really epic adventure, and this isn't entirely true. You can beat the game in a couple of days, but it's not really something that's going to last you months, it's more like weeks. There are a few elements that add to the replay value of Kameo, however. There's co-op mode, which isn't the entire story mode, but is selected segments of it. So once you unlock these in single player, you can go and play with two people. And it runs perfectly in co-op, so don't worry about that. Beyond gameplay, the things people are going to look for the most in Kameo is whether it really displays the power of Xbox 360. This is really a mixed bag. There's a lot of areas that look like they're developed for 360. They're huge, expansive environments, a lot of stuff going on the screen, and some really amazing textures. But then there's also areas that look, slightly like they're developed for GameCube. So while Kameo is not going to be the greatest thing you've ever seen, it still does display the power of the 360. And this is, of course, assuming that you're playing on an HD set with 5.1 sound. You're really not going to see a huge difference between the last generation and this one if you're playing on the same old TV that you've been using for years. In closing, I highly enjoyed Kameo, and I think that it's probably going to appeal to the broadest audience of all the games in the 360 launch lineup. It's a great adventure, and I think it really highlights why Microsoft bought Rare in the first place. Kameo highlights their intelligent game design that has a really unique style and will give players some straight-up fun for a good 15 hours. So that's a brief overview of Kameo, and for a more detailed description, see the written review.